Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you doing this week?
Good.
Fine.
All right. Well, That's Sick, the podcast where we like to talk about really gross stuff that you may or may not be secretly fascinated with.
You are.
Yeah, you are. I'm hosting this week. I'm Justine.
I'm JB.
I'm Heather.
And it is Galentine's Day today.
Happy Galentine's Day.
Yes.
We're recording on Galentine's Day. Will not be released for about a week or so. I realized that last week I was talking about something I was talking about the Oscars, extremely topical, and I was like, "Oh, so and so is gonna win, or that this is that,"
Yeah, and they totally didn't win.
yeah. And then it's gonna now that episode is aired, after like a week after the Oscars aired, which is fine.
Oh, you were going to look like a dumb asshole.
It's fine, but yeah, I realized that after we talked about it. But yeah, I was happy actually the way the Oscars turned out. I predicted 1917 to win Best Picture, but Parasite won, and that was pretty cool.
That's better.
Yeah, that was really cool. Even though I really like 1917, but that's honestly just my personal taste because I like World War I, World War II type movies. Like I was super into Dunkirk and things of that nature. And I just really like war movies. But I understand that, but Parasite was, way more cool because it was I don't want to spoil anything. Everybody should watch Parasite. And people, especially in my job, keep asking me because they know I'm really into movies and stuff. They keep asking, what's this Parasite all about? It won all the awards. What's this all about? And I'm like, I can't tell you anything because it will spoil it. There's a twist. So just see it. But all I can say is it's a commentary on capitalism, and capitalism is bad.
Okay.
Have you guys seen it?
No.
See it.
I mean,
I can't spoil it for you, but it's a commentary on capitalism, and it's great.
I'm sure I will eventually when it's on a streaming whatever.
And it's a thriller. Yeah, it's a great Best Picture winner because I think it has enduring. People are gonna watch it for years and years.
Well, and wasn't it the first foreign language, non-English language film to win Best Picture?
I believe so.
I might have made that up.
It might have been, unless you count The Artist, which was a silent film.
Okay. Well, anyway. So before we jump into things, do we have sickest thing of the week in a bad way to share?
The Virgo already authorized that I was allowed to share the fact that our cat TB pissed on his hockey gear, and he didn't realize it until he got to hockey. He plays ice hockey a lot for beer league, and he got to hockey last night, and he realized it, and he had to put it on and play hockey in pissy gear.
Oh,
That's I don't think I would have done it. Was
Me
he
neither.
playing a game or just practicing?
It's never practice. It's just
always game.
Always games. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But yeah, so he came home and he washed it all, and he washed himself and stuff, and he washed his bag and washed everything. But he was like, because he loses money every time he does it. It's costs money every time he has to, because the ice time costs money. And
yeah,
shit.
well, yeah, I guess.
So, but yeah, I don't know if I probably wouldn't have done it. I would have been like, sorry guys, I'm gone. But
Same.
I guess he could tolerate that. That was sick. That was very sick to me.
Yeah, that's
But
yeah.
he.
We should just point out that today TB is being a perfect angel.
so far.
At least so far since I've walked into the house.
Yeah, he is a perfect angel, especially when he sleeps. He looks so cute and perfect when he sleeps.
Oh my god, when
So
he sleeps
angelic.
in his box.
His pretty box.
Oh.
He's so sweet, yeah. But he's a little fucking asshole. But Virgo fully acknowledges it was his own fault because he placed him on top of his hockey bag. And once you place TB on top of something, it gives TB permission to lay down on it, sleep on it, and eventually urinate on it.
Noted.
Definitely noted.
He's a bad guy. JB, you got anything?
Well, small thing. I found one of my press-on nails in a bag of almonds this week.
Oh,
Gross.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Oh, I don't know. I wore these a month ago. That's gross.
oh no!
I did not eat it.
Oh, well, at least it was your press-on nail,
Yeah.
and not somebody else's.
No, it's definitely one that I had bought, and I was like, this is a janky ass moment in my life.
You missed an opportunity. You could have feigned ignorance and then gone to the manufacturer and been like, "Look what I found in my bag of almonds. I demand free almonds for life."
That would be unethical. I would never.
Yeah, you're right. I probably would also never. Well, I think both of you have me beat this week. I have a very minor sickest thing of the week, and that is I just yesterday I went to touch my nose, like kind of that like the crease where like your nose meets your cheek kind of, and it felt like really tender, and I could tell that there was a pimple coming even though I couldn't see it yet. And sure enough, today it was sprouting, so I went ahead and I did the whole like I have a an extractor tool that I use. You guys look confused.
No, I have an extractor tool.
Yeah, so I got to do that today and, squirt some pus out.
Oh, yeah.
It was gross, so I'm going to put it in the bad way camp.
Was there a lot of pus?
No, because
Bummer.
it wasn't very big, but I'm actually hopeful that I like nipped it before it got worse. That's all.
I feel like a big stupid because my buddy Becca told me recently about like putting Neosporin underneath a Band-Aid on a zit overnight. And I feel like, I'm like, how did I not know that? Because I did that trick. I'm like a big red motherfucker, and it did like kind of make it so it didn't explode, and it took the pain away.
It worked?
Yeah, it worked. Like it didn't take it away immediately, but it calmed it down, like, because you could tell it was about to erupt, into a big angry whitehead, redness and all that angry gore. And it just kind of like, because what it is with those big whitehead, like reddy, nasty ones is infected pore. So
Yeah.
if you put Neosporin on it, obviously that's an antibiotic. You're gonna, help that out a little bit. So then you put a Band-Aid over it overnight, and that just kind of, it's like made it go away a lot faster.
I was going to say too, I don't mind like the ones that come to a head. I
Pop
prefer
'em.
because I can pop them.
Pop, pop, pop,
Which
pop.
so let's be clear, listeners, it is unsanitary to pop your zits with your fingers. I've done it, but I use a metal tool that's just like same as what they would use in a doctor's office. I sterilize it. Well, I sterilize it with rubbing alcohol. Before I use it, I wash my hands. I put rubbing alcohol over where the pimple is. So I'm trying not to introduce germs to the situation.
Yeah, it sounds like you're doing everything right.
Well, I am almost 38. One would hope I've learned how to do something right by now.
I still pop with my fingers.
Yeah,
Like,
I
will
do it like an animal.
I'll pop them with my fingers if,
Animal style.
yeah, but that's why they have the extractor. The ones I hate are the ones that never get to the whitehead stage. When they're just like red and like really under the skin.
Yeah, that's
and
what
they
the
just
Neosporin can help with.
Oh, thank God, because those are my like. I was actually worried that this one was going to be like that, and so today when I saw it had a little white head, I was like, oh, thank God, I'm popping the shit out of this right now. So that was mine. All right, well,
we love talking about zits
we do
on this podcast.
Oh yeah. Heather, I think you were definitely the grossest.
Cool.
This week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good job.
Does that mean I get to go first? It doesn't. I think actually, JB, you're probably grosser this week, so maybe I should go first. It doesn't
You
really
think?
matter. Yeah.
Or do we want to close with the grosser thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, you want me to
with
go?
JB.
You want me to go
and
last?
me go first? Because I think JB will be grosser. Yeah.
I can roll with that.
It's up to you, Justine, but that's the facts. I think hers is going to be like more like bleh.
I trust your judgment. I think this sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Cool. So our topics are kind of like having to do with human body parts and various things you can do with them. I don't want to spoil what JB's story is, but I'm going to like do a little intro into mine, and then, hers will kind of like relate a little bit. So we'll see.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I'm not sure you realized you did this, JB, but you definitely spoiled it on Facebook.
Oh, yeah, you did.
You posted something on Facebook, and I'm like, oh, well, that's what the topic is this week.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we know what JB. That's true.
I mean,
I didn't say specifically though what I was talking about.
I don't know exactly. I have a pretty good idea what you're talking about, but I don't know what the details are. So I'm still excited.
Sorry, I was riffing.
Oh, well, then she knows. You know what JB's is, but you don't know what mine is.
I still didn't allude to exactly what mine was. It just has. You just know it has to do with body parts.
Yeah. Many times, let's start from the very beginning. So, many times in doing research for this podcast, I'm struck by an ethical sickness, as well as a literal sickness. And I'm often like, sometimes I'm kind of like, I don't know. Should I really get all into like the ethical business of it? Because we're not really like a political podcast, and I don't want to, ruffle too many feathers. We're just really here to disgust people, right?
I mean, except for all the times when we got really political.
Okay, that's fine because I'm going to do it again.
Good.
Christopher Columbus, the original fuckboy.
Oh God, what a fuck boy!
White dreads. Bad.
Bad. Oh my God, I'm so glad that we were all so fervently in agreement that white dreads are bad because I hate them so much. Okay, so this week's topic is an excellent example of like a melding between like political sickness and literal sickness. As we all know, there is a worldwide shortage of human organs and also a surplus of poor people. Therefore, the black market organ trade is a thing that exists, and that's what I'm going to be talking about.
Uh-oh. Hell yeah, let me sell off my parts.
Specifically the black market kidney trade, because that is something that's like the main organ that is in the highest demand that you can donate from a living donor the easiest.
Well, and that's also like you hear all those urban legends about.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to go into that.
Waking up in a tub of ice.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly it. You know what? I'm actually going to jump a little bit. It doesn't matter because I'm going to jump because you asked about that. I'm going to jump a little bit to that part. That's the thing is like this is that's all it is an urban legend about waking up. We've all heard that story. I don't know if you have heard that story. We have about waking up in a bathtub full of ice. Like you're a businessman on a business trip to, I don't know, Miami. Okay. And you're at the hotel bar and then you meet this beautiful woman and, she's offering you drinks, and then
she's rubbing your back
in
a very weird specific part.
She's crossing her legs towards you in a suggestive way, indicating she's interested. And next thing you know, you're in her hotel room and then you wake up in a bathtub full of ice and your kidneys removed. You have a big slash in your back. Your kidneys removed. There might be a note on you that says, call 911 right now. This is what happened to you. Sorry about you. But yeah, that's all it is really, that's a myth. That doesn't really happen. That hasn't really happened. There's not been actual reports of that happening.
So when you say hasn't really happened, we don't know. Like you said, there's no actual report of it happening.
Yeah. I don't know if there might have been one case of that happening. Who knows? But it's definitely not an epidemic. Like it's been popularized in popular culture. Like it was definitely highly featured in that movie in the 90s, Urban Legend. The actual movie, The Urban Legend, it is an urban legend. It was in the movie Urban Legend. And it was featured in a Law & Order episode in 1991. So we can at least plug it back to pop culture back then. TB is sniffing inside of Justine's boot again.
Again!
Yeah.
I feel so blessed.
My cat has a foot fetish.
He likes your stink. He must be a Pisces.
As long as he doesn't pee in it.
So yeah, that's the popular culture image, and that is gross because, oh my God. I don't know if you guys heard of this movie called Dirty Pretty Things, but that is also, it wasn't mentioned in my research, but I've seen that movie, and that was a movie starring Chiwetel Ejiofor and the chick that played Amelie, Audrey Tautou. She's French. And that dealt with the black market organ trade and people in hotels like harvesting organs. But yeah, that's just pop culture. Not to say that the actual black market organ trade is not a real thing, because it definitely sure is. It just operates in a slightly different way. So TB, quit making noise.
He can make as much noise as he wants.
He's being disrespectful.
He's my favorite of your cats.
Oh my God, you like him more than Josie?
You've always known this.
But Josie's your little friend now.
And she is my little friend, but TB is still my boy.
Okay, so the kidney is one of the most popular, I believe, probably the most in demand because, you've got two of them.
And they're delicious.
They're delicious.
Oh, no.
So a lot of people can donate one and live perfectly fine, as long as they, maintain their health otherwise. So since 2010, 1 in 5 transplanted kidneys is estimated to be black market.
Damn.
Which sounds like a lot, right?
That sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
Oh.
I found several different prices. Like there's ranges of different prices, obviously, depending on where you get it done, who's doing it, et cetera, et cetera. But it's about like 100,000 to about 200,000 in that area. Maybe 100,000, 150,000 in that area of basically you're the recipient and you're paying that much to get this black market kidney. There are many people involved, so that amount gets distributed to a lot of different people. Like there's the doctors, there's the facilitator people, there's the nurses, there's the hospital, there's obviously the donor. So the donor themselves, that they also, depending on where they live and the circumstances, depends on how much they get paid. In Turkey, I found around $10,000 was the average that the donors received.
Not enough.
Not enough. In the Philippines, it went as low as sometimes like $1,600.
I mean, I know money goes, like the dollar goes further in certain places, but wow.
Yeah.
I just wonder what $1,600 there means here.
Well, a lot of people for example, a lot of people in the Philippines that I saw. So let me first talk about real quick, mention my source. My main source is this documentary called Tales from the Organ Trade, which interestingly is narrated by the director David Cronenberg of The Fly fame.
Oh,
random.
Very random, but yeah, he narrated it. It was released by HBO several years ago. And it's really good. Highly recommend. It's super interesting. That's my main source, but not my only single source. And these people in the Philippines, they interviewed a lot of them. And some people said, oh yeah, I bought a motorcycle. I, spent some on drinking, sometimes they partied with it, but a lot of times they also were able to lift themselves out of poverty with it. So, some of them say, I bought a store, I bought a farm, I bought some goats. I bought, this one guy started up his little business. He bought an electric skateboard is what it was, to transport people on this like little track back and forth. And he like charged pennies to people that could, in the village, to like basically made his own little like, trolley system. It was real cute. So yeah, some people, depending on who they were, some people did responsible things with the money and some people did irresponsible things with the money. That's kind of like the risk you take. So yeah, you can make as little as $1,600, but it can buy, that's the kind of stuff it can buy in Philippines. That's the general examples that they gave. They interviewed a different various people from other countries that donated, including in the United States. There was this guy from Philadelphia. He swam many waters up the Schuylkill River to donate his kidney. He actually met this guy on Craigslist and he sold it for $20,000. So this is like, just a dude that you and I, just like you or me, would know. He just lives in Philly and he needed some money. He was really, kind of hard up and his family needed some money sometime. And the guy, he was motivated, yes, by the money, but too also for altruistic reasons. Like his heart, he did say that his heart like went out to the recipient. But their whole like ethical, I don't know. There's so many spots to be exploited in this whole situation. So the operation itself, like this is the disgusting and the sick part, like the visceral sick part. It's often done in like clandestine temporary locations that it can move from place to place. And you just have to you don't know where it's going to be. Like in the documentary, they talked about this clinic in Kosovo, which is the most recently, it's the youngest country in Europe, essentially. We all know there was like a war there several years ago in the 90s or early 2000s. And
several years ago.
Yeah, several years ago, God, it was like, what, 20 years ago now? Yeah. Almost 20 years ago? We're old. But, it's often done in unsafe conditions. Justine's like very quietly trying to reach for the Dove chocolates.
Like a cat.
Yeah, like a kitty. You did that really well.
We have Valentine's chocolates on the table.
All this talk about organ trafficking is getting Justine hungry.
You know it.
So it's done in a kind of unsafe manner. It seems like a lot of the hospitals were legit, but like one was an orthopedic hospital and they were doing these kidney transplants like on the sly. And then when these agents came in, like busted in to try and bust them essentially, they put like casts on these transplant patients, like, and it worked. They're like, yeah, they put plaster casts on everybody. And it was this this story was told by this doctor named Dr. Zaki Shapira. And he also said that the doctor would perform up to 6 to 7 transplants at a time within a 24 to 48 hour period. So can you imagine that? The doctor is like basically working straight, like 2 days, like 24 hours to 48 hours straight, performing transplant after transplant after transplant, because it's not like you can space them out like a normal doctor would. You have to like, rush to this place and, it has to be hidden from the authorities. Sometimes it has to move multiple times because they think that the Interpol might be on their ass. Okay, so modern medicine has advanced to the point where the kidney can be harvested most safely through a laparoscopic surgery. So if you don't know what a laparoscopic surgery, a lot of people, it's very common. Many surgeries are done laparoscopically. It's essentially where they punch a hole through your abdomen. Really. They punch a hole and they put a little camera in there. Though I watched a video of this. I had to sign into YouTube today. It's like, sign in to verify that you're old enough to watch this graphic surgery video. I'm like, Jesus Christ, really? So they punch a hole with this big needle and they insert a little, it's like this camera / little port thingy. And then they put stylet through that hole. And so they're looking at the screen as they're like poking around in your organs. And then they clamp off the arteries and the veins, and then they cut them, and then they insert a stylet that has like a little bag on the end of it. And then they encase the kidney in the bag, and then they just like pull it out through one of the holes. It looks so gross. So,
and this is what they're doing for these like illicit.
No,
this is what they do for legit.
This is what they do for legit. For illicit, all of the people in the Philippines that they showed on that documentary had a massive scar on their abdomen that was like at least a foot long, and they basically underwent what is called an open nephrectomy. So they were given this large incision and not given the opportunity to have like small scars. They all have very large scars. So there is that added like disgustingness to it where it's not a simple surgery. On the black market, there's not a lot of screening processes put into place. So if you give up your kidney and it turns out that your kidneys weren't all that healthy to begin with, you may end up needing a kidney transplant yourself someday in the future because you only have one good working one that is not so strong. And that's what happened to one guy in the documentary. He donated his kidney for money, and he didn't realize he kind of already had kidney disease, and now his kidneys like started failing. His one kidney left started failing immediately after he got his other one removed.
Did he still get paid for the kidney that he donated, or did they end up using like a diseased kidney in someone else?
Yeah, that's exactly that is exactly the other part of it that's terrible is the recipient got a diseased kidney. So their transplant that they went through all the trouble of doing and money and travel and all that stuff and having to face the ethical decision of, am I going to pay money, to somebody to give me their kidney, and that failed. And often, it can fail even if you do everything right. So there is, though, a growing argument to legitimize and regulate the sale of organs, but the World Health Organization still argues that it is indeed a very slippery slope. I watched a TED Talk about this, and seems like in the movie, The Tales of the Organ Trade, it seemed like they were kind of more in favor of going towards there should definitely be some kind of a open, allowed legal type organ trade. Because if we did that, then the statistics say there would be enough donors for needed recipients and the wait list would be eliminated. But at the same time, there's so many different factors for the donors to be exploited. But now on the black market trade, they're already being exploited. So it's like...
But how is it... Okay, I mean, I totally get what you're saying. And, I love to not play devil's advocate because we decided a long time ago that you guys think that's a bullshit term. I'm not playing devil's advocate.
Men love doing that. I hate that.
I love playing devil's advocate. But anyway.
You're so Pisces.
Just throwing some things out here. Okay. So people can and do things like they donate sperm, eggs, plasma, for money.
Yeah.
Which now those are, eggs are a finite resource, sperm and plasma. They, you get, those you create more of that. And, obviously you're not going to grow a new kidney. I guess, aren't we already on the slippery slope? Then I guess is my point. If people who are worried about a slippery slope, we are already in a world where it's okay to sell
some parts of your
body,
but not others.
Yeah. I guess there is still risks. I don't think there's a ton of risk to donating your sperm because doesn't a guy just go to a room and fucking jack off and then
it's
big deal.
And to be clear, obviously it's not. I'm not equating. The invasiveness of a kidney procedure is on a completely different level than donating plasma. Even I think donating your eggs is much more invasive than donating your sperm, but probably not as invasive as donating a kidney.
Yeah, that's what I'm about to say. I don't really care if anybody knows, but I donated my eggs and I donated my plasma.
That's awesome. You donate, so you might have. Oh, okay. We don't have to talk about that right now.
You have children.
That's fascinating.
I might have children.
I didn't know
I don't
that.
know about.
Wait, how long ago is that?
I did it twice. I did it once in my. They were both in my mid to late 20s. Because you can't really donate. You can't really donate after 30 anyways.
I was gonna say it's too late for me. I wish I had thought of it when I was younger.
And I'm not telling you how much I got paid for it. I'll tell you off mic.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna ask you to disclose that.
Yeah, I'll tell you all off mic, but I'm not telling people on mic.
So I know you said you were done. We got on that tangent because we were kind of not debating exactly, but just kind of talking about just the ethics behind donating your organs, really selling them on the black market and the pros and cons. I mean, I usually tend to be on the side of legalizing and regulating the things that a lot of people think are bad.
Same. Legalize it.
Whether it's, you can make money off, the government can get money out of the taxes, or in this case, it's people's bodies. I think prostitution, I think sex work should be legal and regulated. And that's another area where, it's rife with opportunity for exploitation, of course, but people are already being exploited. I think it would be better if women had recourse and protection. Well, men too. Obviously, men can be sex work. People. Yes, thank you. Sorry. People can have protections and
empowerment, empowerment.
Yes, empowerment. Legal frameworks to fall back on.
No more fucking pimps.
Right, and again, it's your body. It's yours. You should be able to do what you want with it.
Okay, so the TED Talk is by this woman named Friederike Ambagstier. Ambagstier. That's a cool name. And it's only about 15 minutes long or so. And she advocates for a free and open organ trade, kidney trade specifically. And it's an interesting talk. It's hard to argue. I guess it's whatever you say. I definitely think it is higher risk to donate your kidneys than your eggs. But at the same time, who are we to tell anybody, what to do with their own body or, how to lift themselves out of poverty? If this is their only choice, and they choose to take it of their own free will.
I mean, but I think that does raise a good point. Like you said, with ethical concerns and concerns about exploitation, to think that could be your only choice is to sell a part of your body that you might need. And, that's something that well-off people never even have to think about. Do you guys remember, I don't remember which episode it was one of our first ones. And we talked about how a couple hundred years ago, poor people actually tended to have better teeth than rich people because rich people ate so much sugar.
Oh, yeah.
And poor people didn't eat sugar. And so poor people had much better teeth. And so actually their teeth were in high demand to create dentures for the rich people. And so poor people would sell their teeth.
Yeah.
I think we agree. You should be able to sell your body parts if you want. But it's also that it shouldn't be anyone's last resort. I think I think it's just one of those things. It's complex, and I don't think one precludes the other. Like I don't think that potential exploitation is a reason. I'm in favor. I'm in favor of it being legal and
Legalized.
regulated. But I think the exploitation angle just kind of like raises the point that there are other things we need to do as a society to protect each other and have safety nets so that no one ever has to resort to donating a kidney
GB.
to survive.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay.
Double checking, but yeah.
And
But I generally feel you should be able to sell whatever part of your body you want.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, don't sell diseased organs to be put inside of other people's bodies, but
Yeah, that would be sick. So which body part would you guys be willing to sell on the black market, and for how much?
If I was destitute.
Or if you say you wanted to buy a Maserati, I don't know.
Okay. Hypothetically, if I really, really, really wanted a Maserati, which I never would ever want, I've already sold my eggs, so that's a non-issue. Obviously, I'd send my eggs in, but they don't want my old eggs now.
yeah.
My 36-year-old eggs are like,
I'd like sell my skin, I guess, because you can stretch that out and make shit out of your skin, right?
not all of my skin. You can't have all my skin.
Well, no, I don't want all of your skin.
Ed Gein motherfucker over
well,
here.
doesn't your skin regenerate?
To
Slowly?
a certain extent.
What
You
about
can't
like,
have all of it.
like those people who lose like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds, and then they like they have all that loose skin that they have to have surgery to cut it off. Like, can that skin be reused?
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh, yeah, I'd sell that.
So that could be an angle. You could like intentionally gain a lot of weight,
In fact,
and then also intentionally lose it, and then sell that skin
Yeah, I do that.
why
Okay.
don't people fucking do that anyway?
for
Like,
burn victims.
oh my god, like that would be a really like just take the have the bariatric surgery and the burn victim surgery in the same hospital.
I mean,
and just take the
I
take
realize
the skin and give it away.
I understand that what I'm saying is, well, potentially hurtful. Also, you put your body under so much stress, gaining and losing weight like that. I'm not fully being serious, but you know me. I like to think about things.
They do that concept though with certain things, like for example, my favorite show, Botched. I don't know if I mentioned this one, but they do. This one lady had this patch of skin on her face that it was a skin graft from her pubic area. Like when she was 9 years old, she got bit from a dog, and the doctors took the skin from her fucking pubes and put it on her face. And when she went through puberty, she started growing pubes on her face. And so she went to Dr. Nassif, and they inserted this like big like this thing into her face. It was like this sack that they filled with saline. It was this bubble, and they just filled it up, and they stretched out her skin until they were able to cut the pube skin off, and then just make that incision and then just sew it up, because they took that bolt. But she had to like live for like 6 months, not months, 6 weeks with a giant, it's basically like a tumor on the side of her jaw as it was stretching out her face. So they do that for various surgeries, here and there. They do that concept that you were talking about, Justine.
So JB would donate skin. Heather, you haven't decided yet, I don't think.
You could definitely not have any of my kidneys. I'm sorry. You can't have my kidneys. You can't have a slice of my liver. You can't have my corneas. I'm using those right now.
Yeah, my skin's the only thing I think I donate.
I
I mean, if the price was good enough, maybe a hand.
a hand.
Oh no.
Well, this depends on how much money I'm getting.
No, I'm like with Heather. There's not.
I think it'd be kind of cool to
If
have
you
a
were
stump.
a guy, would you donate a testicle?
Yeah.
I-
I would donate a lab.
A lab.
I know it's not the same.
Would you-
One lab.
Would you donate your uterus since you're not using it?
I
I don't know if that's a thing, but that weirds you out.
How
huh?
much? For how much? For how much?
Well, how much would it take?
Okay. I would donate my uterus. And in what circumstances? Am I me, or am I like
You're
living?
you.
You're you.
I'm me.
It's you.
Okay.
I got 50K. Can I have your uterus?
No.
All right.
100K.
You can't have my uterus for less than $1 million.
Okay.
And I you can definitely not have my ovaries, because I don't want to go into early menopause just yet. You can have my uterus maybe, but yeah, probably for a cool $1 million, because that honestly doesn't go that far these days.
Boy, you're rich.
You can't retire on that. Not
No,
really.
you can't retire on that. I need to put it into fucking.
I mean, unless you're
IRA.
planning on dying right away.
Hopefully not.
So, and as the person who devised this question, I don't think I would sell any. I would, you know what? To throw back a couple episodes, I would sell my poop if my poop was deemed good enough to
But
donate.
your poop is just waste.
Yeah,
You're
you
not
literally
using
flush
it.
that.
Yeah, you flush it.
It has cells that sloughed off the insides of my intestines, so it has parts of my body in it.
See,
And remember, you said that the bacteria colony that lives in our guts is like another organ,
yeah.
and the poop is mostly bacteria. Anyway, that's all I would sell.
So you're part of the self-preservation society.
Oh yeah. Oh God, 100%. I mean, okay, but that doesn't mean, now we're talking about selling on the black market. That is a very different conversation from loved one need you to donate something,
right?
And you're a match.
We're talking black market.
That's a different conversation that we are not having right now.
The black market is fun. Oh, final note to my story before we move on to JB's. In that documentary, there was this guy they interviewed. He lives in Denver, and he really needed a kidney. And his daughter, was a match, but she wouldn't donate it to him. And they had this really awkward conversation that they filmed, and she's just like, yeah, I just can't do it, and they got a stranger eventually. Later on, it was a nice ending to the story because the stranger donated the kidney to the dad, but it was so awkward.
I mean, I'd be nervous to do it. I don't. Well, I think it's one of those things you wouldn't know what you'd do until you're faced with a decision.
She said, she was like, oh, if it was my kids, if I donated to my kids, that would be different. She said that would be different, but not her dad. Her dad can't have her kidney.
Well, there could be a whole backstory there that we don't know about with that relationship. I mean, who can say?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, she must not like her dad very much. There must be something going on.
All right. Well, on that note, I think we've thoroughly debated the topic. I clearly really liked this one.
Oh, I'm so glad you did.
I wouldn't shut up about it. JB, it is finally your turn.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So let's talk about body parts. From your Facebook post, I'm going to guess it has to do with disposing them?
Can I give you a musical intro first, though?
I would love it. Thank you.
Let the bodies hit the floor. Ooh. Is that good?
Yes, but it's more like let the bodies hit the ground or various scenarios.
Not just the floor.
Okay, you know what? Go.
I'm going to go. Today I'm going to talk about body farms.
I love body farms.
Oh, okay. So you know about body farms?
A smidgems.
Body farms. Sounds like a majestic field sprouting whatever kind of limb that you might want.
Ooh, up from the soil.
Yes. Or maybe like a cabbage patch where babies just sprout from the land.
Or Xavier Roberts is tilling.
That's where babies come from, right?
Yeah, Xavier Roberts is the Cabbage Patch guy. He's like, his signature's on all the Cabbage Patch dolls' butts.
No, that's not what a body farm is. No, we're going to talk about corpses again.
Yeah, corpses.
The term body farm comes from Patricia Cornwell's 1995 crime novel of the same name.
Oh.
And it was used to describe an anthropological research facility in the book. But what are they? They are a research facility where decomposition can be studied in various settings. It was invented in 1971 by William M. Bass at the University of Tennessee in Knoxville. He came up with the idea after doing consulting work with the local police department. A grave from the Civil War era for Colonel William Shy had been disturbed, and a surprisingly fresh-looking body was inside of the grave. So Bass came over and he looked at it and he's like, yeah, definitely somebody switched out the bodies. This is definitely a new body. Not even a year old. This is a brand new body.
Uh-oh.
So they studied the clothing and the teeth and they're like, no, this is him. I guess, as we discussed in our previous episode with burial and embalming, due to embalming in a very tightly sealed iron casket, that's just how well preserved the body was.
Oh my God.
So they thought it was a new body and not in
it was a 100-year-old body.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wild.
Creepy. Oh, did they take pictures?
I don't know. I didn't look for pictures of this.
It
probably exists. It's the internet.
This is the reason why the podcast exists in a nutshell. My first reaction is, and then my next reaction is, can I see it?
Yeah, Pixar didn't happen.
Picture. It might not have.
Well, I know I believe you, but I'm just like, I'm gross. Anyway.
Yeah.
Carry
So
on.
I didn't look for any pictures. But being wrong by more than 100 years made Bass know that maybe more study needed to be done into the field of decomposition. Now, there are 7 different body forms in the United States.
7.
There's 7. They are in.
That's a lucky number, isn't it?
It's very lucky.
Okay.
Depending on what culture, not to the Chinese people.
Oh, true.
3 is a lucky number for them.
Right.
Not 4.
Not 4. 4 is death.
They're in Knoxville, Western Carolina, Texas State University, Sam Houston State University, Southern Illinois, Colorado Mesa, and the University of South Florida.
Wait, which is the closest one to us then?
I'm going to guess.
Knoxville?
Yeah, I'm going to guess Kentucky or Tennessee. Yeah, Knoxville,
Yeah.
I would think.
We said there's one in Chicago.
Southern Illinois, so no.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
well-
then definitely Knoxville.
Yeah. That might be close. I mean, I'm going to guess Knoxville.
They're probably equidistant.
I'm guessing Knoxville's about 8 hours from here.
There is somebody who proposed doing one near Cal U, but I couldn't find any information on it actually happening. So I don't know if this is just a guy who donated his land to be used to be a potential body farm in the future. So there might be one close to us soon.
Cal U, for anybody that doesn't know, is the California University
Oh,
of Pennsylvania.
Even if you're a
Thank you.
Pennsylvanian, you might not. I did not know that when I moved here. I thought I was very confused by both California and Indiana.
They had a commercial about 10 years ago with a jingle that was like, Cal U.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, I loved it.
But yes, so in Western PA, sorry. But it's not there. So that would be closest to us, but it didn't happen yet. Anyway, so one in the University of Tennessee in Knoxville is the original body farm. It opened in 1981. Over 100 bodies are donated to it annually, and they have 1,300 of them self-pre-registered. People just waiting to give their bodies to them.
1,300 people.
Pre-registered, yeah.
So, but they only accept about 100 every year.
Well, or these people just haven't died yet.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess like,
Yeah,
it's not like 1,300 people are like,
Yeah, I don't think there's a waiting
That
list to
died
get
you.
in. This research facility is frequently used to help law enforcement. It also hosts the William Bass Skeleton Collection, the largest collection of American skeletons in the United States.
cool.
It's made up of former subjects of the body farm. And no, you can't go.
How could you tell? I was actually, so listeners, I was doing a little dance, but I was also going to try to contain myself and wait until JB had finished with her segment before I asked any questions. But you just answer the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, unless you're going into forensic anthropology and you're a student.
But I want to see.
I don't know, go sign up for an anthropology class and try to fake your way in.
Fuck that.
Just go to Pitt and just sit in the back of a classroom. It doesn't matter. They're
I-
not
look,
going to notice.
I already
Oh, I don't
took-
think you get to go to the skull collection though.
Yeah, I took the death
Ah.
class. I took the death class when I went to Pitt, and we learned about the body farm. And I've been obsessed ever since.
Oh, okay. So oh man,
Well-
I really wish I had taken that fucking class.
Yeah, but remember, this was like close to 2 decades ago, so it's fine. I've forgotten all of it.
You might know some supplemental data.
Supplemental data.
I did not say that correctly.
You have the best words.
I love it.
Always. You're just inventing new ways to speak. It's fine.
I'm a dum-dum.
Supplemental data.
Stop it. Own it. Okay.
I love it.
I am. I'm owning my dumbness. But anyway, the big skeleton collection is not just to look goth AF and to be cool.
No.
No, they use the data and the measurements from these skeletons to help forensic anthropologists determine the sex, height, and ancestry of crime victims or unidentified bodies. Maybe not crime victims, but dead. They also study mass graves at this site.
Hmm.
Yeah, I guess they look and see how the bodies affect each other when stacked all up like little dead sardines.
Oh,
Oh, you look like you really like that, Justine. You
No,
sick fuck.
I'm sorry. It's just okay because, like I said, I learned about this, way long ago when I was at Pitt, and I've just been I'm fascinated by the body farms and like what it's used for. So I just love hearing about. I just love hearing about all the different ways they
So-
think of.
All of it's just making you smile to think of what they're doing.
Well, because it's all for science.
It is
and
all for
and it's
science.
to help them solve crimes and stuff.
It's good,
So
yeah.
it's all good stuff.
It's just
anyway.
gross.
Okay, I'm gonna stop interrupting you Go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right. The next one is Western Carolina University. It was the second one, opened in 2006. So there's a while before the second one was open.
Oh, wow. So that means when I was at Pitt learning about this, the Knoxville one was the only one that existed.
Yep.
And all those others that you mentioned have opened since then.
These are pretty recent.
I'm old.
Mhm.
Jeez.
So this one opened in 2006 in a rural campus in the Western Carolina mountains, and with a focus on toponymy. I don't know. But that's what happens to the body after death. And they study the effects of postmortem activity, including processes like scavenging and search and rescue, and basically anything that could happen to a body after it died, to see what happens.
What kind of animals are going to come and chomp on you?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I get into the scavenger. I don't know what the word what scavengers do, and what you can tell by the scavenger records in a little bit. It was actually the grossest thing. It was like, this is visceral. This is visceral.
Tight.
Anyway, but this one is most famous for being one of the very few research facilities in the country to train cadaver dogs, which everybody knows are zombie dogs that are trained to work.
What are these zombie dogs trained to do?
They just go and find dead bodies. They're not really zombie dogs.
Oh.
They're just trained to deal with cadavers.
Oh, so like if they're like, oh, we've got a missing person and we think it might be a murder case, and these bodies are trained to smell out dead bodies. These dogs are trained to smell dead bodies.
Yeah, and then
they can even smell where a dead body has been. I learned this by watching a Madeleine McCann documentary on Netflix recently.
Oh yeah, that documentary, it was so many parts. It was way too long.
And it was one of those, like, for the first several parts, I'm like, oh my God, this is fascinating. And then I'm like, oh my God, why is this still on? Like,
too much.
Too much.
Yeah, and then I don't even think I finished it.
Same.
I did not see it. The next one is the Forensic Anthropology Research Facility at Texas State University.
Sorry, my computer's yelling at me. Keep going, JP.
This is the third body farm, and it opened in 2008, and at 4,200 acres, it's the largest facility. It's a big old ranch, but they only use about 7 of those for research right now. And they mostly focus on research to determine time since death and training law enforcement and rescue teams to find remains.
Oh.
They also use infrared photography and drones, which has been useful for helping the bodies of people who died crossing the Texas border.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah. But I guess it's the place and it's useful.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Next one is the Southwest Texas Applied Forensic Science Facility at Sam Houston State University.
Sam Houston.
This one also opened in 2008. Research at this facility involves lots of bugs and barnacles and scavengers. They use 3D scans to study pelvises to determine the sex from remains. And they also study how fire affects human remains. So they're getting into some shit here.
So they just burn these bodies.
They burn the bodies. They throw them in the water. They scrape the barnacles off. They just throw bugs on them. They feed them to the coyotes.
I want to be... Or at the end of this, we definitely need to do like what...
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. We will.
Yeah.
I'm on it.
All right, cool.
Keep going.
All right. So at this one, there is 1 core acre of max security where they do all the very intense research. And then they have 7 acres of training, minimum security training, where they have rivers on the property and they just train students and law enforcement on how to find dead bodies and see what happens to them. I'm so glad that that's minimum security. So like probably anybody could just walk in and see all of these body farms.
I mean, minimum security still is security. I'd have to fake some credentials.
Yeah.
I imagine.
They at least got some I'm
just trying to give you hope, Justine, that you can get into one of these.
Some lazy ass underpaid security guard hanging around playing his Game Boy.
Just show him a boob.
Yeah, just show him your boob and then you can get in that body farm. Be like, hey, quit playing your Switch for 2 seconds. Take a look at this titties.
Let me in.
I
want to see them dead bodies. All right. The next one is the Complex for Forensic Anthropology Research at Southern Illinois University. This one opened in October 2010, and they started with research with pigs. This is the research facility that has the lowest temperature, the highest wind, the second lowest elevation, the most acidic soil, and the worst soil drainage.
The highest wind in Chicago, you don't say.
I know. No, Chicago isn't in Southern Illinois. It's in Northern Illinois.
Oh, this is sorry.
But I guess Illinois is a windy state.
I was being a dickhead. Yeah, sorry.
The constant low-speed winds that this climate may be very conducive to body self-mummifying.
Self-mummifying?
Yeah.
No embalming required.
Yeah, you don't.
Oh, that's cool.
Are you tired of mummifying your own remains? Just take them to Illinois. Bing.
Mummifying for you.
The wind will do it.
Instant mummy?
Just add wind. So this facility focuses on different body disposal situations and how postmortem treatment can be identified after skeletonization. For example, a recent study is what happens to a body when it's been encased in cement.
What?
Oh, it stays preserved. They're doing it now. The research hasn't been out.
Oh,
They're working on it.
They haven't cracked that egg open
They're
yet.
working
They're
on
looking into it.
God.
That cement egg.
That's
I wanna
great, though.
know.
That means they encased someone's body in cement for science.
To see what-
Dude, I want to know what happens when you like crack it open like a geode and there's like, human.
Oh,
Or like a Kinder egg.
It's a prize inside.
The surprise
It's
is-
Marty.
Yeah, this surprise is Marty. Marty decomposed human muck. Like it's like
I mean, subject 23.
subject
Or
23.
or is it muck?
Yeah,
We
does
don't
it break
know,
down?
right?
We
We
don't
don't
know.
find out.
It
Maybe,
could
Come
turn
on,
it-
Illinois, get on it.
maybe he looks awesome. Who can say?
Maybe
I
he became a mummy.
I really hope it is like a geode and it's like crystals. Like humans crystallize and you just crack open that cement and it's like, oh,
Well, wouldn't it have to be buried pretty deep in the earth for it to crystallize?
shut up.
Okay. This was one of my favorite things that I learned. This facility is actually most known for starting a study on how lawnmowers affect decomposing bodies.
What?
Because somebody accidentally rode over two subjects with a riding lawnmower.
Oh, so they turned it into a study?
They're like, well, this happened, so it's research.
That's
Oh my-
amazing.
Scientists.
Could you imagine?
I love it. That's so cute.
I love it.
Wow. Hey, you gotta make lemonade out
Right?
of lemons.
Like, instead of being like, oh, no, we ran over the subject. Like, well, what happens? Where does it splatter the remains? Like,
Somebody does their graduate thesis on lawnmowers versus cadavers.
somebody probably got their doctorate for that. Somebody
Yeah.
is probably Dr. Lawnmower Bodies. All right. The next one is the Forensic Investigation Research Station at Colorado Mesa University. This one accepted its first human donation in 2013. So this is a baby facility.
Fairly recent, yeah.
This facility has the highest altitude and has the most arid climate, only about 8 inches of rain annually.
Ugh.
And bodies desiccate, and I totally had to look up what this word meant. That means dry out. I should have figured it out from context clues.
Yeah.
So bodies in this environment desiccate quickly, and this facility focuses on that process and postmortem intervals of desiccated bodies and mummified bodies. So I guess to determine how long it has been since you died and you became a mummy in a mountain desert. It's gross.
It is pretty gross. But they might be able to find your murderer then.
That's what this is all about, is finding your goddamn murderer. All right, then the last one is the University of South Florida. It just opened in 2018.
Super recent.
Yeah, super recent. I wasn't able to find too much about what they are really focusing on there.
They probably are still, like, any research they're doing is probably still in the really early stages. Yeah.
It's just noteworthy enough where it adds a whole new climate to be studied. It's the first subtropical area.
I was going to say, when you mentioned that was one of them, I was actually really intrigued because I'm like, wow, that's humid and damp and boggy. And
so shit probably
Yeah.
breaks down really fast.
Yeah.
So, like,
yeah.
okay, so now that we know where the bodies are, how did they get there? So most are donated by families, but some are self-donated, as we talked about earlier. And sometimes unidentified bodies are donated by medical examiners. And they're not as choosy at the body farm as they are with medical schools. I actually didn't realize medical schools were so choosy in who they accept as bodies.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, they want like specific standard size human bodies. So they don't want anybody who's too big or too small or obese or...
Oh, that's interesting. I mean,
It's probably like an ease of storage and transportation and that sort of thing.
You're probably right. It's probably definitely like some kind of like monetary thing where it's like they have to, the storage and the weight of cadavers and stuff. there might be limitations or whatever.
Yeah. But the body farm will pretty much take any body as long as they don't have, if they weren't infected with HIV, hepatitis, or an antibiotic resistant bacteria.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so well, I mean, I guess that makes sense
Because they probably don't want the researchers to have to work on those bodies.
You have to keep people safe because these are, I mean, yeah, bodies are biohazards.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what happens when the body gets there? So the researchers measure, they take photos, hair and blood samples, assign the body a number, and put the body in a variety of situations, either clothed or nude, caged or open, grass.
Caged or free range?
Well, yeah, because they cage some of them to keep scavengers away.
Oh, okay,
and then
yeah.
they put some to, like, I don't know, the coyotes can get this one.
Some they just throw in the field.
Yeah. Yeah, some are put in deep grass. Some are like put in area that's already been mowed.
I want to be put in some nice soft peat.
Water.
They like to put the bodies in possible homicide scenarios, like the trunk of a car, cement,
Oh, yeah.
tied to a tree, in a water tank. Like,
Will they like shoot the bodies?
I guess that's
If
a
they need
possible
to-
homicide scenario.
Gonna pump your guts full of lead.
My guess is that that's probably already been studied to death,
I guess.
but I don't know. But they just gave some examples of homicide scenarios.
I thought the government didn't fund anything having to do with gun violence. Any studies having to do with gun violence.
Well, that's
Well,
true.
then perhaps not. Then please, government, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to spread misinformation. All right. So you got the body in the farm. It's placed in its little.
Oh, wait. I have a question.
Oh, yeah.
Do they like drop bodies from tall heights?
Any way a body can die, they're doing it.
Literally, they let the bodies hit the floor.
Yeah, they let the bodies hit the floor, or they gently place the bodies depending on what they need to study.
Okay.
Sometimes they need to study splat.
I had
Yeah.
to get that one out of the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
If a body can die, they got it that way. So first the body bloats,
Ugh.
and then the fluids inside the cells leak out, and the
Fluid.
bacteria converts all of the liquids and solids into gas, and then the body bloats to twice its size, and then the bacteria produces sulfur and gives the body a yellowish coloring called marbling.
Not
That
like
is
a
not what I
steak.
thought about marbling. No.
Yeah, ruining my steaks for me right now.
Yeah, that made me really not hungry when I read that usage of marbling. Then the flies come. And I think you actually talked about this on an episode a while ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the flies arrive and they lay their eggs, and then these maggots hatch and eat the flesh. Usually starting with the face. I guess that's the yummiest. Softest tissue.
Tender flesh.
Eyeballs.
Tender face flesh. Yeah, the
Mm.
eyeballs are always the tastiest.
3 days after death, the purge stage starts and the body shrivels and leaks out the fluids so rich in nitrogen that it kills the surrounding vegetation. All flesh is consumed within a few weeks. At this point, you can use scavenger presents to determine the time of death. If rats are present, the body is probably less than 6 months old. Rats only chew on bones when they're still greasy from fat on the body.
Ugh.
Yeah. And they just like nibble on the ends. They eat up the marrow. And most exposed bodies are dry by 6 months. If squirrels show up, the body is probably about a year old. Squirrels show up once a year, usually in the springtime when they're about to have their litters, because they like to take all the calcium to their new little babies.
Oh.
So what can we do with this information? Solve murders.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Every year, there are about 4,000 unidentified bodies found in the United States. You know what? I thought it'd be more.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds low,
Yeah.
and I don't know what that says about us as a country, but okay.
Well, with the amount, usually, the murder happens to people that it's usually, I hate to say it, but
it's
like
people. It's like
it's
a family
people you
member.
know.
It's
Yeah.
it's like your husband.
somebody you know. Yeah, it's most likely. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you get murdered, it's most likely your fucking husband.
Probably. I was surprised that like 1,000 of them still remain unidentified after. I guess that's still not that many. But yeah, even after a year, like 1,000 still remain unidentified. In 2018, there were 16,000 murders committed that we know of, and 40% of them were unsolved.
Oh no.
So using this information, anthropologists hope to help law enforcement solve crimes and like find the bodies. So there are some fun facts I learned about body farms. Bodies in black bags decompose faster than bodies in clear bags.
Okay.
There's one body farm in Australia.
Okay.
That was the only non-American one I could find.
Really?
Yeah, they're talking of doing one in the UK and they're talking of doing one in India, but they have not. So one of the original complaints about the body farm, whenever the first one in Knoxville was being constructed, were neighbors and even the local airport were concerned about stink and vultures.
Oh, well,
And while they
it's legit.
Yeah, they weren't really able to eliminate any of those things. They stink. They stink like rotting bodies, and there's a lot of fucking vultures. But they were able to do turn it into just a study on the vulture effects on human bodies. Haha. Suck it, all you complainers.
So I've been to Knoxville.
Yeah.
I've flown into that airport. I've been to the city. I can't say I did not personally notice a bad smell or too many vultures. So
All right. Well, you weren't too far from the body farm.
that's one woman's perspective.
You heard it here. Knoxville does not stink like dead bodies.
I mean, I don't live there, so.
At us Knoxville listeners. And some things that we've learned, and I think a lot of these probably make sense. They're probably pretty intuitive, that cold weather slows decomposition, heat, humidity, direct sunlight accelerate decomposition. Buried bodies decompose more slowly than bodies that are exposed. Acidic soil, high soil moisture speed up decomposition. Cocaine speeds up maggot production, and barbiturates slow down maggot production.
Those maggots are on cocaine.
Interesting. All right. Okay. So if you want to leave behind a beautiful corpse, don't do coke first.
Do downers.
Yeah. Come on, guys.
I don't recommend doing coke in general. It's
But if you don't want the maggot to eat your body up real fast.
Yeah.
The only problem I could find with the body farm project is that because most people that are in the body farms are donated by family or by themselves, is that most of the donors tend to be white middle class to upper middle class people.
Okay. Interesting.
So the data may not be completely applicable to all people, all lifestyles.
Oh, that's a good point that I never had associated with
Same.
body farms.
Interesting.
So I don't know what they'll have to do to maybe even that out. I'm guessing get more random donations from medical examiners.
Or maybe they just need to do more of a marketing push.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Donate your body to science.
Anyway,
that's about what I got. Do you have any more questions on body farms? Because literally there was so much information. It was so dense. I just could not condense it all for this podcast. I might have more in my brain that I didn't write down.
I am going to get right to the what would you do, of course, because okay, so would we donate our bodies to a body farm?
Sure, but
I would, but that's not what I want to do.
Okay.
What do you want to do?
Oh, I want my body to like be put into a tree.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay.
You want to be basically like buried in a burlap sack, like underneath like a tree.
Yeah.
That's cool.
When you say put into a tree, you don't mean hanging from the tree.
No, I don't want that.
Jesus.
I want to feed a tree.
Okay.
I want you to be a tree.
Got it. Okay, cool. Heather, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely want to donate my body to science, but you have to do your research. I haven't picked where I want it to go yet because there's a lot of different places to donate your body to, these farms, or you can donate them to medical schools, things like that. And once they're done having their way with your body, they'll basically cremate you or whatever and give your family back the remains. You can bury, do whatever you have, but you have to look into them, because most recently, I didn't look up the article, but I told JB about the article. But there was a body farm that was saying, oh yeah, we're doing these kind of like nice experiments to your family members. Meanwhile, they found this facility where there were like buckets of human arms and legs, just like garbage, like Rubbermaid buckets full of like human limbs. And they found like someone's grandma had been like stuffed full of explosives and exploded. And it's like, that's not what I wanted for grandma. Like, and
was it part of legitimate research, or are they just being really negligent?
Both, kind of. Like, it was not really super legitimate research. It was more like, we're going to take these bodies and do whatever the fuck we want with them. And we're going to be dishonest about what we're telling you that we're doing with them. Like, we're maybe just burying her out in a field. We're maybe telling people, but in fact, we're like stuffing her full of C4.
Yeah. So I guess like, and that kind of ties back to the marketing thing. I mean, so it's good to know check into the body farm before you agree to donate.
You got to vet these places.
To it.
Medical schools are good places to go because, you know, a lot of times they're easily vetted.
But at the same time, they're not going to take everyone.
Right.
Like, they probably wouldn't take me. I'm probably too big.
You never know. You have to look into it.
I mean, so I've always, ever since I learned about the body farms, I've loved the idea of donating my body to a body farm. I'm not 100% convinced either. I also like the idea of a green burial with a tree headstone, which is basically what you said, JB. At the same time, though, you know, with the body farms, I think you just have to go into it with open eyes, so to speak, like understanding they might do something really fucked up to your body, but
it's all in if you're okay with that. I personally don't give a shit.
I would be fine with it.
Whatever. I'm a nihilist and an atheist, and you know, so after I leave, you know, nothing means anything anyway.
I like the idea of doing some good because I'm also an organ donor.
Oh yeah,
I'm assuming. Yeah,
I want everybody to have my organs first.
Yeah, we're all organ donors. When I was 16 and got my driver's license for the first time, I was adamant.
If you're not an organ donor,
fuck you.
You're a dick.
Basically, what the fuck? You're
kind of a dick.
Oh my god. Yeah.
Please don't play into like that's a whole myth about how the EMTs like they noticed. I don't know if you ever heard that rumor.
Oh yeah, that if like you're an organ donor, they won't work as hard to like save your life. That's like crap.
100% bullshit.
Like EMTs get kickbacks from organs.
Yeah, no, that's
just some like birth or 9/11 truth or conspiracy.
100% bullshit. Please be an organ donor.
Yeah, so I'm an organ donor, and I'm leaning towards body farm. And I don't give a shit what they do to me. I think it's really, really interesting.
You could end up in the skeleton collection.
I mean, I love that, you know, you're able to like do some good. And I guess too, because I'm not a super altruistic person like in my life. Like I wouldn't say I'm the most selfish person, but I'm definitely not the most giving or the most selfless. But I do like the idea of my body doing as much good as possible in death.
Yeah.
So...
And to me, that's like fucking easy. It's an easy decision to make because I'm like, I ain't using it anymore.
Yeah.
But I mean,
yeah. So
I understand how other people aren't necessarily that way.
Yes, I understand.
So no judgment either way. No judgment.
And I think we've talked on here before about how we all think embalming and viewings are kind of creepy. And that's, I mean, we're not saying that to like make people feel bad about their views and choices. Yeah.
We're just telling you what we're into.
We've talked a lot about different, like, death cultures on this podcast. And,
I love talking about death culture.
Yeah. And I think, it just comes down to there's just so many different ways to approach death and, like, what we do with the body afterwards. And it's
we just want to open your minds.
Yeah. But
if they haven't been already.
So, on that, my answer is like, I'm 100% in for the body farm. I don't give a shit what they do to me. But Heather, I appreciate you bringing up the fact or, just like look into it before you donate. Because I don't want to donate my body to a body farm that's going to like fuck around and like waste my body's potential.
Right. That one was like, that's essentially what it was. People were thinking that they were donating their loved ones' bodies and they were like helping cure cancer. But when in fact they were just like, oh, what happens when you blow up this lady?
Oh, it turns out she goes splat.
She goes splat.
Well, and if it's a legitimate body farm and they, are doing legitimate research and they need to blow me up, okay.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever.
That's fine.
They might need to see how far your remains go whenever you get stuff full of CO4.
Yeah, just be honest about it, guys. Honest.
Just don't lie.
Yeah.
Well, So anyway. All right. Oh, this is great. Like, this is a good one. Like, it was really intriguing. I don't feel grossed out at all. Just like grossed out in that good way where I'm like, oh, this is interesting. So I appreciate it. Cause I feel like the last one you guys did, I think upset me a little more. Not in a, you know what I mean? I was fine, but
yeah.
Yeah. Yay.
Oh, was that the lobotomies and teratomas?
Yeah. I mean, I loved it, but it was definitely, this is awesome. This is what happens when you take a death class when you're 19. So, oh my gosh. So on that note, let's lighten things up. Sickest thing of the week in a good way. Who's got one?
Oh, I had a note. I made a note. It was something involving JB that I had to make a note of before we started recording.
Involving me?
Yeah.
Oh, was it good?
Oh, wait. Yeah, I already remember what it is. Okay. So David, our friend David, texted me the other day just randomly because we just text each other back and forth. He doesn't have a Facebook. So like I try to keep in touch with him as best I can through text. And he says, is JB a witch? And I'm like, kind of like we
I
both
dabble.
Yeah, that's what I basically said. I'm like, we both love the occult, and she's more witchy than I am in many ways.
Yeah, I'd be doing a little bit of rituals on a DL in my home.
And then it was really funny. The second part of the story is that after I had texted him like a little bit later on that day, like not even that later, maybe only an hour, I saw on Facebook that you had retweeted that Bill Nye, though, like, smash that like if you're a slut for the moon.
Love that.
And so I texted that to Dave. I'm like, well, to answer your question, JB just says she's a slut for the moon. So yeah, that's how witchy she is. So that was my sickest thing of the week in a good way. I thought that was funny as shit.
JB, what about you?
Oh, this week's a fucking donkey balls. I got nothing good.
Oh, yeah, that was, so I've been there for the past couple weeks. So I guess for me, it's really that so basically the past few weeks, I keep saying like, oh, this week sucked. We have a conference coming up at work. It's next week. So that means all the work I've been doing going into it is finally, it's not wrapped up. Anything could happen. Who knows? But, conference is next week. So we're kind of in the home stretch and that's good. So I feel a little less stress and everything's like pretty in place. And I also, we're going to Phoenix. So I've never been to Arizona. So that's cool.
That's rad.
This is actually the first time that I get to travel for work to a state I've never been to, which is awesome.
Make sure you try to go to Arizona. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah, there's gonna be no time for fun.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be at the hotel the entire time. Like I don't think I'll get to actually see any. I'll have to go back to Arizona and do it properly, but I can at least legitimately say I've been to the state, and which is important to me because I've been to most of them, and after this, I should only have like 8 left. I think.
Tight.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's mine. Like life's getting a little easier. Oh, and also because I have to burn our PTO year, my work's weird. I don't know if this is like normal if other companies do this, but like our
PTO is paid time off,
right?
But
we ours rolls over, like it doesn't start over at the end of the year and like January 1st. It starts over like in the middle of February, and it doesn't align with our fiscal year. Our fiscal year has already started. So tomorrow is actually the last day we can take PTO for 2019. It's weird. I don't get it. Yeah, I know. So I'm actually, so I took tomorrow off, and then we have Monday off for President's Day. So that's also pretty tight.
Tight.
Yeah. All right.
So if you like what you heard, obviously you did because you're still here. Subscribe to us on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you find your podcasts. Follow us on Twitter at ThatSickPod, Instagram on @ThatSickPodcast, or email us at thats.sick.podcast@gmail.com.
So that's it for this week, friends. And until next time, try not to blow up grandma with C4 because
that's sick!